Euromaxx, Lifestyle Europe. Coming up on the show, guitar great. British singer-songwriter Mark Knopfler has a new solo album. Underground inspiration. Fashion designer Eva Grombach has made a collection from old miners' clothes. National cuisine. Euromaxx reporter Michael Wigge asks Germans about their favorite foods. Euromaxx. And here's your host, Robin Merrill.
And a very warm welcome from Berlin. Right now in Cologne, there's a contemporary art fair called Art 21, where the prices are quite reasonable, as there are many young artists, some exhibiting for the very first time. That's why the fair is particularly popular with young collectors new to the market. Ando Schirmer is actually in the real estate business, but he's always on the lookout for art to furnish the luxury villas he builds.
Ando Schirmer has flown in from Mallorca to attend the Cologne Art Fair. The German entrepreneur builds and sells houses on the Spanish island, complete with furniture and art on the walls. He doesn't necessarily have a buyer when he starts work on the interior design of his houses, so he goes for a style he's confident will have broad appeal.
Personally, I think this is an interesting picture, but I don't know if it would suit the house that's still under construction. It'll be a rustic look, geared to a prospective customer who'll be about 55 or older, and I'm not sure if that type would be keen on it.
Buying a Cornelia Schleimer might well prove to be a canny move, but Ando Schirmer isn't interested in art as an investment. To him, art is all about lifestyle, a way of boosting the value of his real estate.
I like art that's got class, but it has to be accessible, easy to understand, not too complicated and not too edgy.
This is one of the homes he's selling on Mallorca. He designed it in collaboration with his company Icazar. It boasts 400 square meters of living space and is going for €2 million. The style is Mediterranean but modern. On the market since June, the house is perfect for wealthy holidaymakers who can afford hiring others to deal with builders and interior designers. Most of Schirmer's clients come from Germany, Switzerland and Scandinavia. The aesthetic is based on a generous use of Mallorcan sandstone and wood. This is reflected in the earthy, natural colors of the art adorning the walls.
This painting harmonizes very well with the materials we used in the building of the house and with our choice of furniture.
All the paintings are on loan from galleries. The buyer doesn't always want to keep the art, in which case the work is returned to the gallery it came from.
We would rarely buy art as an investment and hang it in our houses. We might consider it if we really liked something ourselves and could imagine having it in our home at a later date.
Ando Schirmer and his family live in one of his houses on Mallorca themselves. And it's full of works of art. Like this sculpture by Jörg Immendorf, which graces the foyer. The entrance is dominated by two large paintings.
In my opinion, art should make you think. So the art you see here is supposed to be eye-catching. What I try to do is create a relationship between the art and the house, between the art and the owner of the house. In this respect, we see the art as part of the house and its atmosphere and mood.
Not everyone can afford this sort of luxury, a room featuring a single work of art, a 400-year-old Japanese geisha pillow. Ando Schirmer's latest construction project is a manor house made of natural stone. It costs €3.5 million. The interior design envisions wooden paneling, parquet floors, and no shortage of art.
This room has a wall that we feel is very important. It'll stay as it is now, but we'll be hanging a large format painting. This is a rustic house, so the style will be very muted. And the painting should reflect this.
And that painting is what he's in Cologne to find. Perhaps this work by German artist Johannes Grützke.
I think the technique he's used is very interesting, and I think the image is very interesting. It makes you think every time you look at it.
Another work also appeals to him.
In terms of color, this would suit the house very nicely. The colors would be reflected in the stone and the wooden floors and the furniture that we're planning to install. It's definitely an idea. It could work.
Ando Schirmer is planning to negotiate with the gallery owner and find out if he's willing to loan the painting. Then, if the client likes it, it might just end up staying.
More news from around the continent now in our Express, and with the nights closing in here in Northern Europe, time for a particularly spooky festival.
Haunted thrills. Ghosts and scary monsters have descended on Frankenstein Castle for the largest Halloween party in Germany. It's been taking place annually at the castle near Darmstadt in Hessen for the past 34 years and attracts thousands of visitors from across the country.
I'm here for the first time and really looking forward to it.
This is said to be a unique event in Germany.
I like the creepiness of it, and I'm always glad when Halloween comes around.
Over 70 actors in scary costumes are out and about for the duration of the party, which lasts a few days. This year's event finishes on November the 8th.
Save room for dessert. The French city of Lyon has produced the world's largest ever tiramisu. At almost 1,076 kilos, it knocked the cream off the previous record-holding dessert. This one, made collectively by 10 pastry shops in Lyon, was 300 kilos heavier than its Swiss predecessor.
Knight of the Rings. British actor Christopher Lee now has the title of Sir before his name. The veteran thespian was knighted at London's Buckingham Palace. The 87-year-old received the honour for his services to drama and charity.
I didn't think that anybody of my age would be knighted. I might possibly be the oldest member of my profession to be knighted. I don't know.
Christopher Lee became world famous in the 1950s for his portrayal of the classic horror movie figure Count Dracula. He frequently took on the role of the bad guy in the following decades, recently in the film adaptation of The Lord of the Rings. Over his illustrious career, Christopher Lee has starred in more than 250 film and TV productions.
Mark Knopfler was the heart and soul of one of the most successful bands in rock music, Dire Straits. He wrote all the songs, and allegedly he told his sidemen in the band exactly how they should be played. And having sold over 120 million albums, it seems his taste was pretty good. He disbanded the group in 1995 and since then has released a number of solo albums. And with his latest, Get Lucky, he's set to tour once again.
It's what it is. What it is now. What it is.
His trademark, the red Fender and the guitar riff, the British musician performed recently in Cologne, nimble-fingered as ever.
I still enjoy getting away and touring. It's like being captain of a little ship, you know, just for a while.
But it's strictly rhythm, he doesn't want to make it cry or sing. If then an old guitar is all he can afford.
Mark Knopfler became an international star with the British rock group Dire Straits. Their breakthrough came with the 1979 hit Sultans of Swing. Numerous bestsellers followed, including Money for Nothing, which won the group a Grammy in 1985. That hit is on the 1984 album Brothers in Arms, which also features the same titled song. Selling around 30 million copies worldwide, it's one of the most successful records of all time.
Fools to make war on our brothers in arms.
Dire Straits split in the mid-1990s.
Great memories of it all. But I needed to get control of my life. It was just crazy at the time. So I had to really stop it.
We had no way.
Knopfler left the band but kept on making music. He has produced 6 solo albums, written film scores, and produced music for other artists. The 60-year-old hasn't strayed far from his musical roots on his 6th solo album. Many songs on Get Lucky still have touches of the typical Dire Straits sound. Mark Knopfler's skills as a musician gave him the reputation of being one of the best electric guitar players in the world. But he also has other influences. The Scotsman has worked his penchant for Celtic music into Get Lucky, with a country rock twist. For Mark Knopfler, the music never stops.
The strange thing about being a songwriter is that you're always... You've made your album, but I'm also thinking about the next thing. So you're thinking about another project.
Yeah. Whoa, yeah.
Mark Knopfler at work, recording the backing vocals for his latest album with his current band. Like many of his projects, the multi-Grammy Award winner recorded the music for Get Lucky in his London studio.
Time in the sun.
The wild days on the road have been substituted for a quiet life at home in England. Knopfler has 4 children and enjoys reading and sport. But he remains a musician to the core and still enjoys the thrill of being on stage.
Normal life, yeah, as much as possible. But I still like to get away and tour and do all those things that I used to do. It's a little bit less, that's all.
Mark Knopfler is planning a tour through the US and Europe starting next year.
Now, in the last part of our series, Recycling in Style, we're going to the Ruhr region in western Germany. This was the heartland of this country's mining industry, but by the end of the last century, nearly all the pits had closed down. Amazingly, many of them have been given a new lease of life as cultural centres. And this has inspired fashion designer Eva Gronbach. She thought if you can turn a mine into an art centre, why not turn miners' work clothes into fashion?
Miners' overalls, worn down by work with coal dust still clinging to them. To send fabric like this down the catwalk in the form of a fashion collection is a daring idea. But designer Eva Gronbach says it's about more than just a publicity stunt.
I really believe that fashion is culture, and not just business and mass production. Fashion is much more. I think what's happening in the Ruhr region is really exciting. It's something that worked very well in architecture. That old energy, old raw materials are undergoing a metamorphosis, a transformation process in design.
Eva Gronbach gets her old miners' clothing from the decommissioned collieries in the nearby Ruhr Valley. She first came up with the idea 6 years ago. It was a strange feeling for everyone involved.
Just think, these were the clothes that the guys took off after their last ever shift and just left here.
Eva Gronbach makes a donation for the mountains of filthy clothes from the pits and takes them back to her studio in Cologne. She has the items washed and then sets to work on the material. This involves cutting out the old stitches and placing her own patterns on top. Any holes, stains or tears are left as they are. Bold, the 38-year-old thinks it's poetic.
Mode ist Handwerk, ist Tradition, ist
Fashion is handicraft, tradition, art. In the end, the point is that fashion is a cultural artifact. And that's what it's all about for me. I think it's exciting to confront people with emotional subjects like these and to suddenly realize that you're talking about fashion, but in a very serious, profound way.
ernst und tief.
Grombach, a trained dressmaker, designed her first collections in 2001. They were called Declaration of Love for Germany and Mother Earth, Father Country. The German flag was the central motif. She took the federal eagle as her trademark. After focusing on the nation, she moved on to region. It was initially called Good Luck. Renamed German Jeans, the pieces look set to take the world by storm.
Das Spannende ist,
The most exciting thing is that this grey miner's material, which was originally white, but has developed into a vast range of grey tones through exposure to the black mine, has become German jeans.
das zu German Jeans wird.
Blue jeans represent the American spirit, and the grey is German jeans.
Und die graue ist die German Jeans. Das finde ich echt.
I think it's fantastic to develop a product like this.
Zu entwickeln.
A jacket costs 250 and the trousers 190 euros. German jeans is not exactly cheap, but each piece is unique because it's made by hand.
Das wird auf jeden Fall immer
It'll certainly become a niche product or retain its exclusiveness, also because it's a limited edition. At some point in the future, there'll be no more miners, and then this fashion will also cease to exist.
Eva Kronbach has already made a name for herself abroad. On an international level, she's worked for John Galliano and Yoji Yamamoto. Her utmost priority is to take materials from her homeland and give them a new lease of life.
From German jeans to German clichés. That's what we always investigate at this time of the week with our intrepid reporter, Michael Wigger. He roams around the country with his camera to find out the truth about Germany. And today he's a bit peckish, so he's investigating German cuisine. However, being Wigger, he's not doing it just in the traditional way. So let's see what he gets up to.
Traditional German food is reputedly heavy and rather fatty, with dishes like sauerkraut, knuckle of pork, and fried potatoes. Typical German dishes have a lot of meat in it, but do Germans still like their hearty traditional home cooking?
The average German eats 61 kilos of meat a year. That's twice as much today as in 1950, but less than the European Union average of 65 kilos. Germans eat 16% less vegetables than their neighbours. So what do they eat?
My favourite dish is roast pork with potatoes, made from my mom.
Spaghetti with tomato sauce.
My favourite dish is pelmeni, the Russian kitchen.
That's pretty international. And statistics confirm the trend towards world cuisine. A recent survey found that the most popular dish was meaty, but not very German, spaghetti bolognese. So, what's up with traditional German cuisine? Wigger is off to Rostock in Mecklenburg-Vorpommern to hook up with Michelin-starred chef Tilman Hahn, who might have the answer.
So, how popular is traditional German food?
Generally speaking, I think it's still very popular with the German people. They like their own flavors, but lots of the traditions are almost getting lost because there's a lot of mixing with other cultures, which is something I like, of course, but we're trying to preserve these traditions by refreshing these things, presenting them new in a new way and cooking them in a modern fashion.
Ah, okay.
And here it is, Mecklenburg saltgrass lamb with cassoulet and white and green beans. A new generation of chefs is giving traditional German cuisine a modern makeover. But does this movement extend beyond the country's top restaurants?
As the name suggests, traditional home cooking is made at home. So I'm off to some private homes to see who is willing to cook me proper German meal. Can you do some cooking for me?
No.
Okay.
I don't know cooking.
Can you do some homemade cooking for me?
I'm desperate for German home cooking. Can you help me?
Okay, come on.
Yeah!
Vigour hits the culinary jackpot. Red cabbage and potato dumplings coming up.
Why do you still prepare traditional German dishes?
Yeah, first of all, it's a long family tradition, and I like the taste. It's more intense.
Tradition and taste, but do all Germans find these things important?
Traditional German food is very versatile. People in northern Germany enjoy curly kale with sausages. People in the east rather like sweet dumplings. Maultaschen are famous in southern Germany. And people from the Rhineland in western Germany prefer a tasty cheese sandwich. I'm going to ask 4 passers-by how well they know German cuisine.
Our first test person takes the cheese sandwich on a trip around Germany before stopping in Baden-Württemberg. She should have continued on to the Rhineland. Our second candidate takes the parsley off the curly kale and then way down south before settling on somewhere between Hamburg and Berlin. But is this really the home of parsley? Another culinary odyssey. The next dish ends up in Austria. Let's hope they enjoy it. Finally, the Swabian pasta speciality Maultaschen enjoys a brief holiday in Hessen before returning to their correct home in Baden-Württemberg. A disappointing performance, but maybe down to a poor grasp of German geography. Summing up, under tough competition from international dishes, German cuisine has smartened up its act. Germans are rediscovering old favourites, and the country's top chefs are leading the re-education process. It's more than sauerkraut and sausage. Guten Appetit. The search goes on. The search for the truth about Germany.
Now, I thought that test was quite hard. I mean, do you know where all the traditional dishes in your country come from? I have to say, I don't know what part of Britain fish and chips is from. Anyway, moving on to a few examples of some amusing adverts that are on our TV screens here in Europe at the moment.
Tonight, move your body from left to right. To all you freaks, don't stop the rock. That's freaks, don't freaking in, you know what? Freaks, don't freaking in the house tonight. Move your body from left to right. To all you freaks, don't stop the rock. Oh, freaks, that's fine. Freaks, don't freaking in the house tonight. Move your body from left to right. To all you freaks, don't stop the rock. That's freaks, don't freaking in, you know what?
Баю, баю, живет мужик на краю, у его 7 ребят.
Пора будить.
Ну, еще 5 минуточек.
Рябушка из деревни с любовью.
Маши?
You are the sunshine of my life. That's why I'll always be around.
Having fun together is what it's all about. That's why McDonald's has the Happy Family Meal. A hamburger Happy Meal with a wonderful toy, plus a Big Mac menu. And that makes everyone so happy.
And that's all for this edition of Euromaxx. But if you can join us for the highlights of the week at the same time tomorrow. Thanks for watching. And from myself and all the crew here in Berlin, bye-bye for now.
Next time on Euromaxx, the highlights show featuring star soprano, German singer Anja Harteros and her voice of gold. Danish delicacies, hunting for oysters in the mudflats of Jutland. And Topical Trees, German photographer Robert Voit and his mobile phone masts. That's next time on Euromaxx Highlights.